And with that, I would like to welcome you to this lunchtime event. I hope you're all comfortable seated. My name is Eva Böhlon, and I'm the National Contact Point for Digital and Energy. Before we get started, there are a few points I would like to inform you on. First of all, your cameras and microphones are off, but we would very much like to interact with you. So if you have any questions, feel free to post these in the chat. And you're also very welcome to comment on the content that we will be presenting in the next hour. You can find the chat in your navigation bar. We will also be recording the session, as I said, and we will share the slides with you afterwards. So you'll have all the material available to you also after this session. We have a packed 1 hour ahead of us. This is what we're going to cover. First of all, in a minute, I'll leave the floor to my colleagues who will guide us through Horizon Europe and the current status of Switzerland. Then we have a short question and answer session before we break out into the thematic breakout rooms. Here, you will be informed on the funding opportunities in each of the thematic areas. We had a last minute change. Unfortunately, the health session will have to drop out, but you can find all the materials and also the recording of that session afterwards. So don't worry if you're here for the health session. After the parallel sessions, you will be automatically returned to this main room where we will rejoin for a few last minute comments and finish the event at 1 o'clock. If you have additional questions that there was not time to answer in the breakout rooms, we have allocated time after 1 so that you can ask all your questions directly to the thematic experts. With that, I would like to leave the floor to my colleagues. Nicole, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Eva. Good lunch, everyone. I will spend the first minutes of this webinar talking about what is Horizon Europe and what is the Swiss status toward this program. So Horizon Europe is the largest research and innovation funding program from the European Commission. We are talking about 95.5 billion euros invested in research and innovation. However, remember, money is not the only reason why you should join an Horizon Europe project. Actually, there are 3 main points that is not money, why you should consider participating in one of these projects. These are excellence, collaboration, and impact. Why excellence? Because these programs are very competitive, and only the best researchers in your field will make it to the funded projects. Then collaboration. We are talking mainly on European dimension projects where mostly you need to collaborate with other partners from Europe and any associated country to the program. This will allow you, of course, to increase your network and to work with the best collaborators and the researchers in your field. And finally, impact. Your project, you will solve global challenges we are facing now. So anything that will be funded through Horizon Europe will make our future better and will tackle any challenge we are actually facing at the moment. Horizon Europe is structured in 3 main pillars. This is how they call it. Pillar 1 with excellent science, Pillar 2 with global challenges, European industrial competitiveness, and Pillar 3, innovative Europe. And today we will cover instruments within any of these 3 pillars. Every instrument is described through a work program. The work program is, as you can see here in this image, a document, very long document that explains what are the calls available in each of the thematics that are possible to apply in. Each work program refers to different type of calls, and the calls may be either bottom-up or top-down. So the bottom-up are those that allow you to come up with any research or innovation project of your interest, whereas the top-down are those projects that require you to follow the instruction from the European Commission. So where the European Commission would like you to focus on your project. Typically, the top-down programming, so the ones where the Commission tells you what you should focus in your project, are structured based on the strategic plan of the European Commission. Basically, the European Commission has EU policies and needs to create a strategic plan based on the key strategic orientations. Basically, they see what are the main problems or the main things that should be tackled nowadays, and they draw kind of at some expected impacts that they would like to see out of these projects and financing. So the work program is basically the creation of destinations where each of them has a set of calls that will generate potential impact on tackling challenges of today. Every journey toward the granting of finance for Horizon Europe looks the same. Basically, you have a call opening, then you will have certain amount of months to prepare your proposal till the call deadline. And then once you have submitted your proposal, basically there are 5 months of proposal evaluation, after which you will get the call results. If your proposal is successful, then there will be 3 months of grant agreement preparation phase, after which there will be the grant agreement signature. From the grant agreement signature, usually a month after, you will start your project and implement all the activities described in the project. This timeline doesn't change much across all the different instruments. And please keep it in mind for what we are going to discuss now regarding the Swiss status in Horizon Europe, because some of these dates are very crucial in understanding what the Swiss status changes and how it may influence your application in Horizon Europe. So yes, let's talk now about the status of Switzerland. I believe everyone knows that Switzerland is not associated yet to the program. However, Switzerland allows or is able to guarantee the Swiss entities to participate in the program at the moment under the role of associated partner. This means basically your entity will not be able to sign the grant agreement with the European Commission and receiving funding from the European Commission, but it will be able to receive funding through SERI, so the State Secretariat for Education, Research and Innovation, and performing basically the same type of activities that would have been possible also if we would be associated. More in details, associated partners have an active role in the project as any other beneficiary and can lead work packages. Usually, they also sign the consortium agreement, so the agreement among the partners of the consortium. And the tasks and activities that you will perform in the project shall be also described in the project description. On the other hand, at the moment, it's not possible for Swiss entities to coordinate a project, and the budget of the Swiss entities does not count toward the maximum call budget. Now, what will happen next? Here is an infographic from SERI on the complexity of the negotiation. And I will leave this for your information later to look at it carefully. But to extract from this the most important information for you. We are today here The negotiations for association to Horizon Europe have started and they are continuing. And this has impacted, for the moment, only the RC Advanced Grant 224, which today is not the focus of. But of course, if you're interested in this program, you can always contact our NCP experts in ERC. The agreement is in negotiation, and as soon as there is an initialing, so the initials of the signatory parties on each of the pages, Switzerland will be eligible to participate in all Horizon Europe 2025 call identifiers in the role of beneficiary. This, of course, will not influence any restriction of calls. So in certain cases, calls are not open to third countries. So this initialing will not allow, in any case, Swiss entities to be eligible for these restricted calls. And then, of course, the last step is association finalized, which will make Horizon Europe fully accessible to all Swiss applicants. Now, here is just an additional contribution to what we just said. If we see the first two columns are the same as I showed you before, what this means in terms of application in Horizon Europe. Well, the Swiss basically, as soon as there will be initialing of the agreement and they will be hence able to participate in calls 2025 as beneficiaries, this means that the Swiss budget will contribute then toward the max call budget. However, if at the grant agreement signature, the association is not being finalized yet, then your role will be shifted from beneficiary into associated partners. And this is the reason why SERI already created the Financial Guarantee 2025, which foresees that if in case association for 2025 calls is not met at the signature of the grant agreement, SERI will cover the budget of the Swiss partner. So to see it under another perspective, you see again here the same timeline I showed you at the beginning. So assuming that the initialing of the association agreement has happened for call when there will be call opening in 2025, by the call deadline, you will apply as beneficiary for calls with identifier 2025 and as associated partner for calls with identifier 2024. Then, and the grant agreement signature, if your proposal is successful, of course, for call identifier 2024, you remain associated partner, whereas for calls identifier 2025, you remain beneficiary only if association is completed. Otherwise, you will be shifted as associated partner and receive funding from SERI. All in all, at the current calls, as we will see today, the current status of nowadays, you shall apply as associated partner, and your budget will not count toward the maximum call budget. You will not be able to coordinate projects, and the funding of your project is guaranteed under the Financial Guarantee 2024. Whereas for any call identifier 2025, as soon as there is an initialing of the agreement, you will be able to participate as beneficiary, counting toward the maximum call budget. Coordination will be possible as long as association is confirmed at the grant agreement signature. And in case of non-association at grant agreement signature, SERI will cover your funding through the Financial Guarantee 2025. Here you have all the links of what we have talked about so far. And just for your information, here is a visual graphics on where Switzerland can participate at the moment. So in red, anything that is actually closed. In yellow, what SERI will fund, and in blue, what at the moment the European Commission can fund directly. Thanks. I can now leave the floor to my colleague, Matthew.
Thank you, Nicole. So I just asked for, perfect. So I'm controlling the screen now. So what I'm gonna talk to you about in the next couple of minutes is about how to build a consortium in Horizon Europe. So what you will see later in the parallel sessions is actually selection of different topics that at the end you may be interested in. But one question that then we often receive once the topic has been decided is, how do I get in a consortium? How do I choose a consortium? And what I intend to do is just to give you some tips that we give, let's say, our clients on how to do this. Okay, so let's see how to proceed. Okay, right. So there's different tools and different platforms that can be used. And I will quickly go through all of them. First, the network, your current network, actually, that's actually where you should start from. History of previous projects, brokerage events, partner search platforms, and finally, us, the NCPs, and the EU Research Network. So first, your current network. This is what one may call the obvious part, right? You for sure have your network in your research or innovation environment, and this can be anything within your organization, but also outside your organization. They can be your clients or even your customers, social media, virtual groups, former colleagues as well. It's always good, let's say, to use and leverage these contacts first, because this is where you have a direct connection with. And just go there and ask these communities whether they have participated maybe already in Horizon Europe projects. Do they have an intention to apply in the upcoming topics? And sometimes you'll be surprised maybe how much activity there is already on that front. Now, a bit more of a homework kind of approach is to look at what previous projects have been funded. And here there's different ways to do that. One is to use the European Commission database of past and ongoing EU projects called CORDIS. You will see that this database has a search function, which, excuse me, this went forward. Yes. It has a search function with free text. You can select the framework program. You can even select the country of participation. So there's a good way in which you can narrow down your search and find out basically what projects have been funded before and what are also being funded at the moment. Another way is actually to go through the Funding and Tenders portal. The Funding and Tenders portal is the database containing all EU funding opportunities. It contains the open and forthcoming opportunities, as well as the closed ones in the past. And this is a good way, because what one can do is actually look maybe first in the past work program, see what kind of calls were open, and then you can look into the Funding and Tenders portal for these specific calls and find out actually the project details, the partners that were involved, and then if one wants some more information, you can then go back to CORDIS and look at that information there. I will give you an example of this in a minute, of how to use that. The third and last tool is the Horizon dashboard. This is actually a very visual kind of tool where past and ongoing projects are visualized in a graphical way per country or per kind of organization, public. So, excuse me, I don't know why my slides are always going. Okay. By country, by kind of organization, and you can then have nice plots and histograms that show, let's say, well, which countries, which kind of organization that participated more frequently. So now, as I said, I'm going to give you a quick overview of one example with the mobility part. So I'm going to the Funding and Tenders portal here to look at what kind of funding and tender opportunities are available. I'm putting in the free text search this CCAM, which is a mobility partnership. I'm selecting in the select box only the closed calls. So I'm looking at history here. There I'm ticking on the closed calls, and then I'm clicking on the search button, and I get all a list of past calls. I can select now on any of them just to see. I want to find out who actually participated there. For example, this one here. And at the bottom of the page, if I scroll all the way to the bottom, I will find actually the projects that were selected for funding. If I click on any of them, I will find a small summary of that. And at the end of the page, actually, I will find even the participants. So that gives me some hints to who I should contact if maybe I want to participate in a similar project that's happening now. Okay, now we go to brokerage events. That's another way. So brokerage events generally happen at conferences, at fairs. And generally, as part of these events, you have business-to-business meetings and pitch sessions opportunities. So these are very good opportunities to show yourself, show what you can offer, what part of the overall picture you can be, and to find partners for your consortium. From this point of view, there is a list of upcoming events on Enterprise Europe Network website. This is a very good list of events that generally include brokerage events. And there's also a link here to a list of specific events for Cluster 5, so to which basically mobility, energy, and climate belong. So there you will find that there are some events which are also permanently open, some platforms where it is possible on a continual basis to post your organization and to look for partners for upcoming calls. And similar to Cluster 5, there will be similar brokerage events for other clusters as well. Okay, partner search platforms. This is somehow similar to the previous one. Platforms are generally events that continue for quite a long time, generally until the closure of the calls. Again, here's some couple of links of these platforms. And there are also platforms that are not necessarily related to Horizon Europe, like CrowdHelix, LinkedIn groups. Let's say on all of these platforms, one can actually look for partners. The last point here is also to be mentioned. In the funding and tenders portal, under each call, there is the possibility to post your interest in looking for partners. You can there also indicate what are your skills and what you can contribute with. And that's also an opportunity to find partners for a very specific goal. Okay, last but not least, of course, we are here to help you, the NCPs. We are the Swiss NCPs, but we similarly in all other countries of Europe and also not member states and non-associated countries, there are NCPs. And we also, let's say, collaborate with our colleagues from different countries. There are also projects that join NCPs for different thematic areas, and they set up these partnering platforms for different thematic areas. So these are very useful opportunities. I mentioned the one for Cluster 5 earlier, but there's also other ones for other thematic areas. Additionally, and now we go on our specific point of view as EU Research, as Swiss NCPs, we can also provide what we call e-alerts. So if maybe you're a consortium and you're missing one specific participant, we can actually set up what we call an e-alert, which is basically a search message to the research and innovation community to look for that particular missing puzzle piece. One thing that is also important, and this is, I think, my last slide, it's about partnership topics. So when the call that you're interested in is part of a partnership, it means that behind it there is a big, sorry about this again, there is a big effort in terms of strategic research planning. There is a strategic research and innovation agenda, documents that specify exactly what will be investigated in the years where this partnership will exist. And there is generally a list of members of the partnership. So here you have a lot of homework already done. If you're looking for partners in a partnership topic, go to the website of the partnership, look at who are the members, and you already have a head start in looking for consortium members for such a call. And I think here I was going to give an example for the CCAM partnership, which is a mobility partnership. You just go in Google, type the partnership, and you will always find the part where there is where the members are listed. So, and then you can also filter them by country or by category, and in this way you can really see even close to you who has participated before in these kind of calls. And the next slide is another example with another partnership, which is the aviation, the air traffic management partnership. Also there is a website. Generally, these websites are very well maintained, and you can find a list of members as well. Exactly, members again. Right, so that brings me to the end of my session. I will give the control back to you, Eva, for the questions and answers.
I already hijacked it. So we have a few minutes now before we do the breakout sessions on if there are any questions. So if there's something that popped up to you during these two presentations, both on the Horizon Europe setup, the legal and finance that Micol presented, or the tips for partnering that Matthew presented, then feel free to put those in the chat. We would also like to hear, maybe you have experience with partnering. If you have some tips that you want to share, feel free also to put those in the chat. So I see a question that is about one of the partnerships. So this one is, the question is, what about the CHIPS JU? Can Swiss participate there? With my second hat, I am also the national contact point for digital, so I can answer that quickly. The CHIPS JU has two parts. It has an initiative part where Swiss entities are not eligible to participate, and it has a so-called non-initiative part where Swiss entities can participate. I would encourage you to get in contact with myself and Tim. We can help you figure out which is the right topic for you.
Can I ask a question? Like, I'm just saying, like, more in 2025, when Switzerland would be associated country, we still cannot participate in initiative calls in 2025.
So this is a question I would like also to get Micol to answer to. Many of the CHIPS JU topics are funded via the Digital Europe program and not Horizon Europe, and there the Swiss eligibility conditions are different. Micol, do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, the important thing is to always check the eligibility condition of each call. Especially in the digital field, these might be restricted calls. So you need always to double check if the call is limited to EU member states or not. If that is the case, the association status of Switzerland will not change our eligibility because we will not become member states of the European Commission. And maybe one last point, as Eva mentioned, if something is funded under the Digital Europe program, this might not necessarily have the same impact as of a Horizon Europe program. So these are two different baskets. You should double check if the funding is regarding Horizon Europe, then we can participate as associated partner, but for Digital Europe, there might apply other conditions.
Just saying, like, because I didn't get my full answer. So initiative calls would be closed even if Switzerland is associated.
Well, this depends on the call. So each call has usually the description who is entitled to participate and receiving funding from the European Commission. So in the moment in which, for example, there is the famous initialing of the Horizon Europe agreement in 2025, and potentially then we can participate as beneficiaries, you still need to check in each call if third countries are eligible to participate. So there are certain considered strategic fields where the Commission does not allow countries outside the member state to be part of this project. So you really need to check case by case. But of course, I think if you have interest in specific CHIP-JU calls, then you can always come back to us, and then we can help you to understand whether the eligibility is possible for you or not. The CHIP-JU being a partnership is a bit different compared to the main instruments of Horizon Europe.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Nicole. So keeping also an eye on the timing, I will now move on to the next part, which is the parallel sessions. So each of these sessions will be 20 minutes. You will, in a minute, have the breakout rooms open. I will introduce you what each of them will contain. After the 20 minutes, you will automatically be returned to the main session for a few final comments. So we have a total of 7 breakout rooms with different thematics. So in the first room, you can hear about the MSCA. The health room, as I said, unfortunately dropped out today, but we will send you the material also from that session and the recording with the follow-up material. Then in the second room today, you can hear about the Cultural Heritage Cloud and other digital opportunities. In the third room, you can hear about the civil security topics. In the fourth room, I will present the energy-related topics. In the fifth room, you can hear about the mobility, Mission City and New European Bauhaus topics. In the sixth room, you can hear about the climate, soil, and ocean missions and other opportunities in Cluster 6. And in the seventh room, you can hear about the EIC transition topics. So we will open now the breakout rooms. If you did not already get a pop-up on your screen, then you can navigate to the breakout rooms by clicking the 3 dots for more options in the navigation bar. And there you can find the breakout rooms and you can click the room that you would like to join. So with that, I encourage you and invite you to pick your breakout room, and I will see you back here 5 minutes to 1 in the main session. So what should you do now that you are hopefully have found a topic that interests you? First of all, a reminder that as a Swiss-based researcher and innovator, you can participate in the majority of the Horizon Europe topics. So don't hold back. If there's something that caught your attention, then get started. And how do you do this? First of all, you need to find the topic that suits your field of activity. Second of all, you need to identify where can you contribute to this topic? What is your specific expertise that can fit into the project? And finally, as Matthew was saying in the beginning, you need to contact your network and start building that consortium. If you already know that you will be co-writing a project proposal this autumn, then I invite you to join our proposal writing training. So this is a full day event that takes place in Bern, where you will learn a lot more about how to write proposals for Pillar 2. If you're interested in the MSCA or the EIC, I encourage you to contact the thematic experts to also get material for how to write proposals for these 2 instruments. You can find the information here on our website. And remember, in this journey, you are not alone. We here at the EU Research Network, we are there to support you. And you can always reach out to us. We have offices all over Switzerland and all our services are free of charge. So don't hesitate and just send us a message. If you did not already do so, I would also encourage you to sign up for our news channels. This way you will always stay up to date on the latest information. You'll also be informed about upcoming brokerage events or opening of new calls. So this is a great way for you to stay on top. Then finally, I would like to thank all the speakers in today's event for their time. And I would also very much encourage you to spend 2 minutes to give us some feedback on this event. That helps us plan better events for the future. And if you don't have a device at hand to scan the QR code right now, then don't worry. I will also send this link to you with the follow-up material. That brings me to my last slide, which is basically a big thank you to everyone here today for spending your lunch time with us. If you have any more questions, you can always reach out to us by email, or you can take the opportunity now to ask the questions to the different thematic experts in the breakout rooms. We will reopen the rooms in a second. If you have any questions that relate to legal and finance matters, then you can stay here in the main room and ask those. And with that, my clock is almost at 1, so I will conclude this session by inviting you to join the breakout rooms for any other questions that you may have, and otherwise wishing you a great rest of the day. Thank you and bye-bye.